Hi everyone, I'm Coleman Sisson. I'm the CEO of BubbleUp. We're a digital agency that does a lot of e-commerce, particularly with Shopify. I have with me today Eric Seastrand, who is our Vice President of e-commerce and has a lot of experience in developing Shopify websites and commerce stores online. Today I wanted to talk about just some of the things that we do. We started off in the music business, and some of the things we do with Shopify. We started off in the music business, and we developed our own CMS to handle fan clubs. And after working with Shopify, we have now ported that stuff over to Shopify, and now we build fan clubs using Shopify. And there can be membership clubs more than anything, and what that means is, being a member gets you access to certain things, maybe certain merchandise or certain pages or things like that. What were some of the challenges that you found doing that?
So I think the biggest challenge I found was fighting the perception that Shopify is just an e-commerce platform. A lot of the stuff that we used for fan clubs in years past, going back since we've been doing it, it was all custom from the ground up. We built it all ourselves, and so it was a bit of a mindset shift for a lot of us, myself included, to understand that, hey, at the end of the day, all a membership system really is gated content and a way to pay for getting past that content wall. And when you sort of envision it in those terms, it starts to fit a lot more nicely into the model of how Shopify is set up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's so I'm not going to give you all of our secrets. So if you want to know more about that, you got to call us. 832-585-0709 or BubbleUp.com. And going along in that, there's things that we've used, bundles and buy two get one free, or buy X get Y, or whatever they call that. What are some of the things that you've seen with bundles, for example, that Shopify handles very well, and others don't do so well?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing to understand with bundles is that there are so many different ways of implementing bundles. At its simplest, you could implement bundles by just creating a product and putting an image on it and saying, hey, this is a bundle. And when somebody buys it, your back office folks doing pick, pack, and ship would have to know, hey, if I see this item, this line item in my report, I need to actually go pick these 3 items off the shelf. For a lot of merchants, that's just fine. If you're fulfilling a small number of orders, I would say don't go overboard and try and automate everything and set up all the apps and all the cool bundles. Not that things aren't cool, but you're really actively working against yourself. It makes more sense to just keep it simple. And when you find that you have those problems, like keeping inventory in sync between your bundle components or representing it on a sales report accurately so that the accounting team can do something useful with it, that's, I think, when it makes sense to start getting into that next level of bundling.
And the reason to do a bundle is to increase the average order value.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So you go from selling individual products, let's say they're $35 each, you can throw a bundle together for 3 or 4 products and get to $150 per order pretty quickly.
Yeah. The other key advantage that we found for bundles, because we do a lot of pick, pack, and ship ourselves, of course, is that bundles are a great way to get rid of that stuff that nobody wanted to buy. So if you have a lot of inventory sitting around that it wasn't a hit, and maybe you got these little bumper stickers or something, make it a bundle and throw the bumper sticker in. We have found, with data has proven even, that people are more inclined to buy that bundle even though they're not actually saving any money. It's that impulse buy factor. And now with the cool extensions that Shopify has in the checkout, you can even add that item to your order after the fact. So I know we had a customer that wanted to do that, where on their old system they had built all this custom stuff that lets you, in one transaction, buy stuff, and then after checkout you see a pop-up and you can hit add, and somehow it goes and edits your original transaction. You can actually do that with Shopify now with the new checkout extensions.
Awesome. So another way to get rid of those products you couldn't sell is buy one of these and get one of these free kind of thing.
Yeah.
How is that different or similar to a bundle?
So they're honestly kind of one and the same. I think that the distinction only really comes up when you talk about the user experience of how it looks to the user, and then also possibly how you market it. So for example, if you have a bunch of marketing dollars to spend, it can be impractical to put those marketing dollars behind, hey, buy a bumper sticker in our checkout after you finish. On the other hand, if you can create a bundle around it and you can present it all to the buyer as one bundle, you can then have a product page on your website that represents that bundle. You can drive traffic there using paid ads, and now your users are immediately seeing the whole bundle. And I think this is more of a marketing and a business decision than a technical one. Is just how you present it to the buyer.
Interesting. And so the last question on that is, the bundle you described that you can just take, product A, product C, and product F and make that product Y. But sometimes in bundles, you can let people create their own bundle, right?
Yeah. So that you can absolutely do with Shopify.
Gets you excited. Huh?
It gets me excited, but also opinionated. So the challenge that I've run into with a lot of those build your own bundle things, and I think what maybe is missed by a lot of the customers that I work with is those are really only going to work in the Shopify storefront. So if you're on mycompany.com and you're buying the product from that website, all good. You can do whatever you want, because remember, the theme editor, it's the Wild West. You can write as much HTML and JavaScript as you want. On the other hand, when you start wanting your products to show up on Facebook and Amazon and Walmart and the various other marketplaces that you might be integrated with, those systems, you cannot just go put your own JavaScript on. So if you go create a product and you've got some app that does the bundling, and now you try and push that product to Facebook, people are going to order your product without any of the bundling, and it could create an accounting nightmare for you. Ask me how I know.
How do you know? Interesting. Very cool. Awesome. Well,
there are ways of avoiding that. I don't know if you want to go down that road.
No, we'll do that in a different
Okay.
session. Well, thank you, Eric. It's been great talking to you about this stuff, and thanks for listening. And we'll be back with some new stuff soon.